Hello and welcome to Navigating Your Constant Contact account. I'm so glad that you are joining me today. Wanted to say welcome again. My name is Tamara Jaros and I'm going to be your presenter for this webinar along with the webinar series that you've signed up for, which I'm super excited that you're going to be a part of this webinar series with me as far as the learning a little bit more about creating campaigns, uploading contacts, talking about reporting, and really going on to that next and advanced features and things like that within Constant Contact. So I want to share a little bit with you about me. Again, my name is Tamara Jaros and I work with small business owners. I have my own small business where I work and allow small business owners the opportunity to learn a little bit more through training and consulting that I do with them. Most of the time when I'm going to be working with the client, they'll say, this is great information. However, can you just do the work for me? Because sometimes what happens is that most folks are needing the help, but not necessarily always having the time to be able to do it. So one of the things that I love is the opportunity to provide the training as well as provide the service for email marketing. So if you're one of those businesses that go through the webinar series with me, but then discover that, you know what, it's not something that you want to do, definitely reach out to me. I've also partnered with Constant Contact as an authorized local expert. I was able to move into that position in May of 2014. What that does is that allows me to get more training to really understand email marketing, social media, digital marketing in general, and be able to do that training and share that knowledge that I have with all of the folks that join me either through a webinar or a in-person seminar that I host. So if you are looking for a little bit of training, stay connected with me, and then I can share my knowledge with you. So love to have you here on this call with me and going through this seminar series with me. So I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to cover today in this webinar. This is kind of like the prerequisite or the webinar prior to the series, and I put this together because there's lots of times where I have so much information that I want to share, and so I usually start with this because I feel like this is kind of the foundation. But then what happens is then I run out of time of the information that I'm wanting to share on the actual call that I'm having. So this is why I put this together in hopes that, you know, you would take a look at it before we get started so that these questions are out of the way. And really this is kind of the foundation for your account. Usually we go through these things at the beginning. Chances are you're not going to necessarily go back to the billing or settings because once you set them up, they're all set, ready to go. So we're going to go through navigating the software to understand where everything is located, understanding your account billing and where that is located and how you can go through those steps, managing your settings. Again, once you set up your settings, usually you set it up once, and unless there's a need, you don't go back and necessarily change them. So it's important to get that set up from the beginning correctly. I'm going to talk about web browser recommendations. Constant Contacts works best with certain web browsers versus others, and talk a little bit about the security. Many times I get the question, how secure is the Constant Contact software? So I want to just address that and also talk about anti-spam laws. It's important if you're wanting to do email marketing that you understand that there are laws in place both to protect your list that you're going to be sending to, as well as to protect you as well. So I want to just make sure that you're aware of what those laws are. And then I'll talk a little bit about some next steps. So I want to talk first, before I get started, that there's actually two plans that Constant Contact offers its customers. There's the email plan and then there's email plus. So on the email plan, what that does is it allows you to send out newsletters and announcements type of campaigns. So that's pretty much, you know, the basic newsletter or announcement as far as, you know, maybe holiday hours or holiday greetings, newsletters, and things that you're sending out. So that's the email plan. Some businesses can stop there and they do just fine. But then there's also Email Plus. And what that is that allows you the opportunity to send out those newsletters and announcement type of campaigns. But in addition to that, these plus campaigns would be the birthday and anniversary autoresponder campaigns and creating autoresponders that are not necessarily related to a birthday or anniversary. Collecting donations. So if you are a nonprofit and you want to be able to send out donation type of campaigns, that would be and fall under the Email Plus. Feedback and survey. This allows you the opportunity to do just that, get feedback and really survey your audience or your list. Maybe you offer a service or you had someone purchase a product and you want to get feedback on that customer experience or how they're doing with it. Sometimes at the end of the year, people like to send out a survey so that they can plan for the future year. So that might be another way to use surveys. Event and registration. If you are a business or nonprofit that's hosting different types of events, maybe this is going to be the campaign that you want to send out where you can create an invitation, it creates a landing page and a registration form, and you can keep track of those folks that RSVP yes, no, and maybes, and you get the opportunity to track if anyone is paying for your event as well in order to attend. So that's a nice campaign that's actually more than just a campaign. There's also the send and track coupons. So if you're wanting to create coupons and track to see if folks are redeeming those coupons, whether it's online or physically in your store, you can send out a tracking coupon campaign, and that way you can see what's happening. And then finally, Facebook fan promotions. We all want to grow our social media, and this is one of the ways that you can do it. So this is what's considered email plus. And so I just want to point that out because sometimes people don't even know that there's other types of campaigns that you can send, or maybe you're wanting to send out some of these other types of campaigns and you're just, you didn't know that that was available. So here's kind of like an easy, simple chart, and I want to share this just to kind of let you see the difference between email and email plus. So for the most part, there's a lot of similarities between both plans. There are some differences, and I just want to feature those differences. And so for email only, for file storage, it's 1 gigabyte. For email plus, it's 2 gigabyte. For the users for email, there's 1 user, and then for email plus is 3 users. And we're going to talk a little bit about the users because there's different roles that you can set up for people that you may want to access your account if you have the email plus plan. You also have the opportunity with Email Plus to send those advanced campaigns, but then you'll also notice here at the bottom a kickoff consultation with an expert. So Constant Contact has folks in their corporate office that are working with businesses and small nonprofits that want to be able to utilize Email Plus. And so there's someone there to help you as far as creating campaigns and answering questions and getting you started. And they will also create a custom template that's mobile responsive for your account. And so you can go ahead and have your template created for you initially in the beginning. Also with Email Plus is that you are able to access images from Facebook and Instagram if you have Email Plus. So if you have those images that you want to incorporate in your campaigns, Email Plus is what's going to be the one that you want to use. And you have the ability to archive sent emails in an embedded archive widget. So that means if you wanted to save them on your website, then you want to utilize the Email Plus. So sometimes that's going to be one of those features that you want to be able to add to your website, and you can do that with an Email Plus. So just wanted to kind of share that with you and let you know, kind of see the differences here. If you have any questions about that, definitely reach out to me. The pricing obviously is different. So the starting price for email is at $20 per month, and with Email Plus, the starting price is $45 per month. And so since we're on the, talking about the pricing and things like that, if you are a business or a nonprofit that is a member of a chamber, please let me know because you have the opportunity to get a prepaid discount of either 20 or 25% if you wanted to do a prepay of either 6 months or 12 months. So that's a nice way to save a little bit money as you're creating your email marketing. So now that we've gotten through that, now I want to talk a little bit about navigating through your software. So when you log into your Constant Contact account, you will see this dark blue bar up across the top, and this is where your tabs are located. So if you wanted to be able to if you wanted to be able to, let me just kind of point this out here, share here on your campaigns, your contacts, reporting, your list growth tools, and your library, this is where you're going to find that information there. Your campaigns is when you're wanting to create a campaign, you can simply click here on campaigns, or you can go over here to this create button, and then you can create the campaigns that you're wanting to create. If you want to add any new contacts, then you're going to want to go here to the contacts tab. This reporting is what they've done is they've actually put all of their campaigns and things like that together. So what you'll see here is all the reporting from your campaigns that you've sent out. And that's a nice way to kind of easily see that. The list growth tools there's tools available for you to help you with growing your list, and then you can utilize that. And that may be through a web sign up form, a Facebook app that you're adding, text to join, and there's also QR codes too. And we're going to talk a little bit about those in future webinars that I'm hosting. The library is going to be your library where all of your images are kept. So you want to make sure that you keep those in mind. As far as, whoops, I'm gonna try to erase all of these little pointer here that I have, so all of the ink there. So if you wanted to add any images or PDFs, you'd simply go here to the library. Now, next up here, we have, let me see here. We'll just do a laser pointer here. Next up, we have the opportunity to see over at the far right, there's the little bell that has a little dot here. That little orange dot, that is for you to be able to see what's new. So if you log into your account and you see the bell with the orange dot, then you'll know that you need to click here on that little area and you can see what's new and what's happening. And so that little notification says, hey, maybe there's a new product ad, maybe there's a new feature ad, maybe there's a change in the software. So any opportunity that there's something there with an orange dot, you'll be able to see what's happening. When you move over to the next little area, you'll see that there's a question mark. That question mark is for the help for your account. And this is really important because there are lots of resources in the help area. There is the frequently asked questions, there is watching the video tutorials and joining a webinar. Just like the webinar here, there's lots of folks like me that give different trainings throughout the US and Canada, so you can take a look at that. While you're on that page, you'll be able to see that there is the customer support phone number here. And just to kind of point out to you that the customer support has location both in US and Canada. That's what that number is good for. The hours are Monday through Thursday from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Fridays from 7 a.m. till 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you are creating your campaigns or in your Constant Contact account and you're like, I just want to be able to get some help, you can most certainly reach out to someone. There's a live person that's going to help you and answer your questions. And I want to stress to you that that's one of the extra bonus features with working with Constant Contact. You can also chat with folks on a live chat. You can email. You can also get help from your peers if you wanted to do that, as well as utilize Twitter in order to be able to get customer service that way. So there's a couple different ways that you can do that. And it's important to understand that there are lots of resources. There's also these two boxes at the bottom of the screen. And what this is a get started fast, so different resources there. And then what's new with the product. So Constant Contact is changing up their software and they're going from what's called a second generation to a third generation. You will hear me speak about that in the webinars to come. So just want to share with you that if you're wanting to find out what's new from the the software itself, you can take a look there and find out. So that's that menu bar up across the top and the different tabs and the little icons. There's also one more there on the far right, which is this little profile person. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. And when you click on it, you will go to account billing and manage settings. So we're going to be moving into those two areas. So when you click on that little profile person, what you will see is where it has your My Account, where here we have the plan information. So you would either be on email or email plus. It would then show you how many contacts, the plan that you're on, and then also your billing amount. So you can take a look and find out where you're at as far as the billing. And you can see whether you're on email or email plus. When you move down into this next bottom section, you'll see here where the account balance is. So if you're using your credit card, it should be a zero balance. And then if your payment plan is, this person here as far as the sample is on monthly, but again, I shared with you that you can do a prepay of 6 months or a prepay of 12 months, and you'd see that there. Payment method, again, what payment method that you're using. And then down here, it says billing activity and statement. So if you needed a statement for your business, you could print it from here in this area. If you wanted to take a look and see what activity has taken place, you could simply click there, viewing plans and pricing too. So this is just a great place in order to get that information, and that's going to be under that profile. When you look into your account, you'll see here that if you're wanting to change your username or password, this is where you're going to also do that. The next one up here is going to be the security question. When your account was created, there was a security question created as well. Usually when I'm doing it, I usually use the question, what is your first phone number, and use the phone number that is part of the person as they're creating the account. So it's a current phone number, not necessarily the very first phone number. But you want to select a security question because that is going to be the question that's going to be asked if you're calling Constant Contact and they want to verify who you are. So that's important to understand. And then lastly, we have this account users area here. And earlier I'd said that you can have different users for your account, whether email or email plus. And so I just want to let you know that Constant Contact allows you to have multiple people working in your account, each with their own unique username and password. So you can assign a role to your additional users to restrict their access to the account while allowing them the opportunity to contribute to your campaign. So the number of additional users depend on the pricing package or plan that you're on. When you add users to your account, rest assured that none will have access to this billing section here, and therefore they can't make any additional purchases, change your billing plans, or cancel your account. So as the account owner, you have that ultimate power and kind of like authority over your account, but you can allow folks the opportunity to be able to access your account and see and create and things like that. So once you've assigned roles, the Manage Users link will let you edit or reassign the role. Multiple users can edit campaigns simultaneously, though I want to stress to you, only the most recent saved changes to a campaign will be preserved. So if you have two people logged into the account working on a campaign, the one who saves last is the changes that's going to be saved. So to prevent accidental loss of edits, make sure that you let your users know and have them communicate with one another when they're editing a particular campaign before they're clicking save. So for the different types of roles, there's account manager. Account managers can create, edit, send, schedule, publish, and share campaigns. They can also add, edit, and delete contacts and email lists. They also can view the billing activity, account settings, and report, but they can't make any changes to it. So they have a little bit more access to make, in the day-to-day actions of your account. There's also the campaign creator, and campaign creators can create and edit all campaigns. So that's really their limitation, is just creating the campaign, so they can't send anything. So you really want to understand, if you're going to set up roles, what is available so that you don't set them up to too many limits or give them more access than you want. So let's talk a little bit more about your settings. So when you're logged into your account and you click on the little profile person over here in the corner, you'll come over here to the My Settings. And when you log in, you'll get to see where your organizational information is at. And so you want to make sure that you add in your company name or organization or nonprofit, add in the website, phone number. If you have a logo, add in your logo there. This is what's going to help populate when you're creating campaigns. And so then that way, when you're creating a campaign, this information will automatically populate for you. Signature information, same thing. You want to make sure that you set up that signature info so that it's part of your campaigns. When you scroll down a little bit more on the settings page, you'll notice that you can update the email message settings so that when someone is receiving your email campaigns, who is it coming from? And you can set it up to where it's defaulted always to be the company name. The contact settings, when you are adding in custom fields, that way you can update those fields and have them as a part of your campaigns. The footer options, so there's two options here within the footer that's going to be a part of every campaign that you're creating. There's the update profile email link. There's also unsubscribe comment box. So by default, these are set for on, but you can most certainly come in here and turn them off. This update profile and edit email, that lets your subscriber make changes to their email address or their profile information. Maybe they got married, maybe they've moved, maybe they've changed jobs and they want to be able to update their email address. So that's a good feature to include. The unsubscribe comment box, that allows your subscriber who wants to unsubscribe from your list to be able to add a comment as to why they're unsubscribing. So this is just a good overall opportunity for them to share with you what's going on and why they're unsubscribing. It's not required, so they won't have to comment. They can just, it's optional. And then down here for survey response notification. So if you are wanting to find out who has subscribed or unsubscribed, you can get a report sent to you. This one is set for weekly on Sundays. And so what happens is on Sunday, if there was any activity as far as a new person added to my account or someone unsubscribes, I will get an email that lets me know what activity has taken place. And so that's kind of a nice way to do it. Again, it's completely optional. You don't have to set that up. But just kind of nice to know that feature is available. Organizational address, this is going to be on the top area here when you go into your My Settings. This is part of the CAN spam laws. We're going to talk a little bit more about CAN spam in just a little bit, but want to share with you that the CAN spam laws require you to have your address, and it can be a post office box, but it needs to be a part of your campaigns to let your subscriber know that you are a legitimate person, an established business. There's other area items here. So authentication, confirmed opt-in, language, and autosave. So I want to take just a moment here and talk about authentication. So you can see when you log into your account, it's actually the default is turned off, but I've turned mine to on. And so what happens is Constant Contact authentication lets you align with the industry best practices of email authentication with minimal effort simply by changing it from off to on. Authentication helps your ISP identify your mail as legitimate, so not from a scammer, or you're not trying to send spam or anything like that. Over time, assuming you have a good sending practices, this will improve your email delivery rates and have a good domain-based email sender reputation is really becoming more and more important. So be proactive by authenticating your email. And so you just want to come in here and just simply click it from off to on. So just keep that in mind as you're creating your accounts and things like that. If you're having trouble with the open rates or your sending rates and things like that, it may be simply as simple as just turning this on. The other option here too is confirmed opt-in. Right now as default, it's turned off, and this is actually that double opt-in. So that's kind of how people know. So confirmed opt-in is really the strictest way to obtain permission to send to email campaigns out to your list. It requires your contact to respond to an email confirmation in order for them to be added to your list. So if the contact doesn't respond, then he or she won't receive any future campaigns from you and would be listed as awaiting confirmation. So if you really want to have a very strong email list, then setting up this opt-in is going to help you. Again, it's optional, so you don't have to turn it on. But if you want to make sure, then it's going to definitely enhance the solidness of your list, or those folks really want to receive communications from you. So what will happen is when you turn it on, you will see this next little confirmed opt-in, just to make sure that you understand what you're doing when you're creating that. So you'll see here that this box will pop up, and just to say, I understand and agree to the following. So all boxes must be checked before your import will begin. So just take a look at that and read over it. The confirmed opt-in is definitely one of those that I would recommend that you go to if you really can. It definitely helps to make sure that you are getting your audience's approval and permission, and kind of takes the burden off of you, and now it puts it onto them. So consider opt-in. By default it's turned off, but if you want to add it, you can turn it on yourself. So one other piece here as far as the settings is when there's the manage my settings, but then there's also this verify address. And so what happens is when your email account is created, you will automatically receive an email that says, hey, we need you to verify your email address. And so what happens is once your email address has been verified, then it just says address verified. If you miss that email or you don't get it for whatever reason, you can simply come in here, email addresses to verify, and add in your email address, and that way you can verify it. So before you can send any campaigns, you will need to verify your email address. A verified email address lets you get your account emails and pick from the kind of like the from email for your outgoing email messages. So if you have other folks in your business or nonprofit that you want to be able to send out campaigns out on their behalf, so it would say from them versus you, you'd want to come into again to this box here, and you want to add their contact information as far as an email and then send them a verification email. This way they can then have their email address verified as well. So there's no limit to the number of verified email addresses that you can add to your account. If you want to view all of those, you simply come in here and take a look to see who has or has not verified their email address. So a simple little step there, but it is necessary for when you're getting started. So as we move down a little bit farther from the settings, we'll get that out of the way there. We want to move into the recommendations. And I said earlier that Constant Contact supports most recent versions of commonly used web browsers. So if you're using an unsupported browser, you'll see a special message notifying you. So older unsupported browsers may still work, but issues specifically only to unsupported browser versions may not be fixed. So here's kind of like the breakdown. So Chrome is always going to be a good one. Constant Contact automatically, Google Chrome browsers automatically update for all their users. So Constant Contact works really well with Chrome. Firefox and Safari, those are updated for most users, but sometimes you may have a little bit of issue. So if you're having any issues, maybe switch over to Chrome. The Microsoft Edge and Internet Explorer, those are currently Edge is not supported, and the Internet Explorer is questionable as to how it's supported, but really Chrome is going to be your best choice. So keep that in mind, that Constant Contact is compatible with most, but not necessarily all browsers. And so it's important to know, if you want to have the best success, utilize Chrome. So we're going to move down into security, and this is important because I know sometimes people ask, and obviously with security breaches with software, it's important to have this in place. And so I want to share that the security of Constant Contact site is maintained on multiple levels. So you'll see here physical, network, host, software, and user account. And what that means is Constant Contact means internal security policies and procedures in support of its ongoing operations. So access to resources is granted only to those who reasonably require access based on their responsibilities within the organization. Constant Contact complies with the EU, which is European Union, and the Swiss Safe Harbor Framework as set forth by the Department of Commerce regarding the collection, use, and retention of data from the EU and Swiss Confederation. So for physical security, physical access to their machines is restricted to specific individuals and uses multiple levels of security. So there's a variety of different security for physical processes in place. For the network security, Constant Contact's hosting environment is protected from the public internet via multiple and distinct firewalls and monitored with a network-based commercial intrusion detection system. All of your account, credit card, and subscriber information and content is encrypted via the industry standard Secure Sockets Layer, which is the SSL, connections over HTTPS. So even your account information, your credit card information, and your user information is protected as well. Host security, Constant Contact undergoes industry standard security hardening efforts on all systems. All hosts and services are routinely monitored for integrity and availability. Our servers are monitored 24/7 for malicious activity. And so that integrity of security is extremely important to Constant Contact. For software security, Constant Contact regularly undergoes security reviews, including external and internal scanning for vulnerabilities on an ongoing basis by a third-party vendor. So they're definitely trying to make sure that it's secure that way. And then as far as user account security, user-level access to Constant Contact services is provided by a username and password that's selected by the end user. So you have the opportunity to make sure that your account is secure by changing your password. Passwords and credit card numbers are encrypted. user account setup, maintenance, and termination are under the control of the end user again. So security is truly important for Constant Contact, and maintaining a very high level of security and integrity is as important too. So hopefully that kind of, maybe you weren't thinking about that, but I just want to point that out, that that's one of the benefits with, again, with Constant Contact. So let's talk a little bit about the anti-spam laws. Some of you may be familiar with them. Some of you may know that they exist, but I just want to take a moment and make sure, because this is important for folks that are utilizing email marketing as part of their marketing mix. So for the CAN spam is more here in the US. So it is the Controlling of Assault on Non-Solicited Pornographic and Marketing Act. While this law will not stop spam, it also makes it does make most spam illegal and ultimately less attractive to spammers. The law is specific about the requirements to send commercial email and empowers the federal government to enforce the law. The penalties can include a substantive fine and/or imprisonment for up to 5 years. So the law includes a private right of action clause for internet service providers, but not for individuals. So to sue a sender regarding the receipt of prohibited messages. So the CAN spam law actually went into effect of January of 2004. So it's been around for a long time. And, obviously they've, tried to increase and make sure that it's protecting individuals so that they're not getting material or email communications that they shouldn't be. So Constant Contact's terms and conditions require that your list be permission-based, which means you already comply with unsolicited email requirements stated in the law. So when you ask for permission to add folks to your list, you are complying. If you use that double opt-in or that confirmed opt-in, you most certainly are getting permission. And so that's where I was encouraging you to use it that way. So you want to make sure that when you are sending out emails, in order to be compliant, that your subject line is straightforward and not misleading. Any unsubscribe requests that come into you via you or reply to your email must be honored within 10 business days of receipt. So when someone unsubscribes from your list, from Constant Contact, the system will automatically do that for you. So you don't have to worry about doing that. It'll do it for you. But unsubscribe requests never expire, so you must honor all opt-out requests indefinitely, regardless of future mailing platforms. So if you decide that Constant Contact's not for you, you want to make sure that you capture those folks who have unsubscribed from your list and make sure that you take that with you to the next email service provider. So unless you receive a new explicit opt-in request from that address, you want to definitely note that that's a person who has unsubscribed. That physical address in your email campaigns, that's part of the CAN spam law. So Constant Contact requires that you add a physical address before you can schedule a campaign. So you want to make sure that this address is a valid physical postal address or PO box from your organization. So that's, kind of the overview of the CAN spam for the US. But there's also the CAN spam laws for the CASL, which is for Canada. So I've kind of kept this in here. You'll receive this slide deck here so you can kind of take a look, but this is important to understand what it means, how does it apply, the scope, and what does it mean to you. So you'll receive this slides here and you'll be able to take a look at that a little bit closer. But as far as the CASL laws, these are the laws for the Canadian either business that's sending to, or if you're in the US and you're wanting to send to folks in Canada, this information you really need to understand and learn. So as of July 1st of 2014, the Canadian anti-spam legislation, CASL, requires that the sender of commercial electronic email obtain permission before they are allowed to send to the email recipient. In addition, the law mandates commercial emails contain truthful headers, so that subject line, and non-misleading header information, proper identification of the sending party, and time limit. According to the Canadian government, any email sent to and from a Canadian computer, mailbox, or network falls under the jurisdiction of CASL. So if you have any customers that are located in Canada, or you yourself are located in Canada, please, please, please understand what these CASL laws are. Very important. Individuals, companies, or businesses who do business in Canada need to comply with these laws. As a Constant Contact customer in good standing, you are already in compliance with much not necessarily all, much of the Canadian law, but there are a few things that I want to share with you before we keep going forward. So constant contact terms and conditions require that your list is permission-based, just like the CAN spam, which means that you already are complying with that. Your email communication, the from email address is verified and already accurately identifies you as the sender. So you are identifying who the email is coming from. You're not being misleading. When you have the advanced email permission settings turned on, you're able to specify whether contacts you add to your account have given expressed or implied permission. And so expressed is when you receive um, when you've received their opt-in, where that kind of like that double opt-in, and they've signed up either on your website or some of the other tools that are available as far as list growth. So those are expressed because they're taking the action. Implied permission may be where they've signed up for a class within your organization. You've offered a class and they signed up and you've asked, can I send email to you? And they've circled the yes. You received their business card that has their email address. That's an implied permission that you've gotten from them. So you want to make sure that you understand the difference between expressed and implied. Constant Contact automatically includes a clear and obvious method for your contacts to opt out of future email communications, so you are in compliant that way. And Constant Contact automatically processes unsubscribes from your email communications, so you don't have to worry about that. What I also want to point out to you, and this is something that I actually learned when I was doing a little bit more digging and kind of going into this a little bit farther, so that email addresses obtained with implied permission. So that's that you got their business card and it had their email address on it. You were at a trade show, they dropped their email address into the fishbowl. Email addresses obtained through implied permission must be removed after 2 years unless express permission to the email has been received. So what that means is that if you are sending to those folks or you're in Canada sending, you need to, at some point at 2 years, get express permission. So they need to opt into your email list again. So you make sure that as a marketer, you need to maintain your audit trails as to how and when you obtained their consent. The best practice is to record as much information as possible on how the consent was obtained. So if you're challenged from any kind of regulatory or Canadian court, the burden of proof is going to be on you and not your recipient. So keep that in mind, that you make sure to understand the CASL laws for that reason. So again, here's kind of like a little outline. You're going to receive this slide, so you're not to worry. So I want to talk just a moment here about the next step. So if you haven't already, create your new account. Reach out to me before doing that, because I, from time to time, get offers of discounts. Sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 40. There was a promotion going for 5. So just keep that in mind, that reach out to me if you haven't already, and then we can make sure that you get the best discount possible. Update your settings, verify your email address, and start to gather out your contacts into an Excel file. The best practice would be having a column for your first name, column for your last name, and a column for your email address. Those are the kind of like the core of information. It doesn't matter which order, just as long as you have the labeled up at the top. If you want additional information, you can most certainly add in additional information inside your Excel file, but that's kind of the basic. And make sure to plan to join me for the next webinar. I'm going to go through the series for you to, again, talk about contacts, campaigns, reporting, and then those advanced features and kind of the next steps there. So I'm so glad that you're going to be joining me in this webinar series. If you have any questions from now until we get connected again, just simply reach out to me through email, or you can give me a call. Love to be able to help and answer this questions that you have as far as email. And this time's really for you, so you need to make sure that you maximize it and ask me any questions that you may have. So I want to say thank you for being a part of this webinar, and hopefully you've lasted this long with me. And my name is Tamara Jaros, and I work with Constant Contact, and I'm so glad to be able to share this with you. So thank you. Look forward to meeting with you again on our next webinar call.